It's January 7th, 2023. I'm TC Kirkham, and this is the Kirkham Report. Hey, vinyl community, TC Kirkham, the Kirkham Report here. A little bit late getting the show up today because I was a little under the weather last night and this morning, but it seems to have passed. It was some stomach issues, and I'm feeling much better than I was, so I wanted to try and get this up. It's going to be a pretty short show, but one long segment out of the box. I got a ton of stuff that's come in, plus a couple of other things I want to bring up, and a few reminders about the changes in schedule that'll be starting in the next week or two. We're going to kick things off with a massive out of the box now. Well, this week on Out of the Box, I have a bunch of new stuff, and most of it I haven't had a chance to listen to yet. What else is new? But I've been taking advantage of some of the sales of various stores and online stuff. I got something I was waiting for, and of course the usual stuff from Don and Mary. So let's start with this. First off, Sound of Vinyl website had a great sale where they were selling some stuff at ridiculously low prices in some cases. Although they didn't have much of what I was interested in, that was mostly a lot of old Steve Miller, old Neil Diamond, they did have one album I grabbed for a mere $8. This is Mariah Carey's Charm Bracelet. The reason I got it is right there, down in the hype sticker. Bring It On the Heartbreak has Mariah's wonderful cover of the Def Leppard song. Loved that from the very beginning. I've never been too crazy about Mariah's albums after 2000, but I'll give this a listen when I get a chance. Just arrived the other day, and I mean $8 plus postage. It still only came to like $14. That is not bad at all. So thank you, Sound of Vinyl, for that sale. Next up. Remember a couple of weeks ago I was talking about how I had ordered Sawyer Frederick's earlier stuff on albums, and I had to send one of them back because it came with an empty sleeve. Well, this time the right one arrived. This is Sawyer's second album, Hide Your Ghost. It is signed by him right there. Includes one of my favorite songs by him, a song called Gasoline, and love this album. It is a three-sided album. Each one has sleeves in it. This is the side C. The fourth side is an etching of Sawyer. I don't know if I can get it to show up on camera. Oh yeah, it's not too bad. Get it to show up on camera there with his name, logo, and likeness from the picture that I was just showing. Which is, come on. This one right here. If you're not into Sawyer Fredericks, you should be. The man is brilliant with his folk and AAA sounding stuff. Keep banging the microphone, I'm sorry. Very nice to finally have this on vinyl. I had the digital and I had the CD, but I finally got the vinyl and autographed and everything, and I'm glad we finally got it worked out, so thanks to District Lines for getting everything, setting everything right. Next up, the Big A had a few sales over the last few days, weeks, and I picked up a couple of recent CDs that by a couple of bands I adore that came out both this year or late 2021, and again, I haven't had time to listen to them, but they are both my favorite bands among them. This is Simple Plan's new album. It is called Harder Than It Looks. Simple Plan, great band from Canada. If you don't know who they are, you should check them out. Everybody should know I'm just a kid, at least. And The maestros of goofy pop from Texas, Bowling for Soup, and Pop Drunk Snotbread. Haven't heard any of the songs off of either one of these albums, but I love these guys, both bands, and was very glad to pick them up for a for a song, bad pun, on the Big A, so thank you very much. I also took advantage of Record Research's buy one, get one half price recently, and filled in the rest of the charts that I wanted. This is Joel Whitburn presents the Billboard Hot 100 charts, the 70s. This has each week's chart reproduced from the original magazine. Finding out a lot of interesting stuff. And the 80s volume. I had the 90s and 2000s already. We'll eventually go back and get the 60s, I'm sure, but right now I may go and get the Cashbox and Record World ones too. They also have those, but I've got most of the other ones, so having the charts is very cool. And I got, as I said, one regular price, one for half price, so that's definitely a great deal. Thank you to Record Research for that. Just this afternoon, my sale order from Rough Trade arrived. I got these for a song also. This retails at $36. Normally, I think I got it for $10. It's a very decent price. This is The Stars Beneath My Feet, 2004 to 2021, from James Blunt. This is his greatest hits album. Includes all of his big best-known songs there. I have not, as I said, I just got these less than an hour ago. The other one is something that's a little near and dear to my heart because I knew people who were involved with this band when I was in high school. I talked about their first album on another show a couple of times. I've also talked on a Record Crate chat with it. Apparently, a couple years ago, there was a story in a major blog that got a lot of attention, and people have been actually finding their music now, which is really good. This is the unreleased album that they had recorded in 1980 and 81. This is Washington State natives Donnie and Joe Emerson and Still Dreamin' Wild, The Lost Recordings, 1979 to 1981. The first album, Dreamin' Wild, there's a picture of it. I've shown that before. I have the original. It is on Enterprise and Company Records. This one, I don't know because I haven't opened it yet, but I would imagine probably something similar. My Cross the Street neighbor played bass on their first single, a song called Thoughts in My Mind, when they were just known as Donnie, Joe, and Eldon. Dion did not get credit, and then they released the album Dreamin' Wild later, and now this has come out as a result of all the publicity from that other blog that appeared, which I read. I don't remember where it was. Maybe if I can find the link, I'll put it in the show notes. But my high school music teacher, Herb Tollefson, operating under the name Herb Toll, produced most of their music. So it was pretty interesting. They were from north of Harrington. I don't remember which city. North of Davenport, too. I don't remember where exactly they came from. But their music was interesting. The mix on the first single was pretty bad. You could barely hear the vocals. It was all the music. But in any case, it was fun to listen to. Now, let's go on to this massive thing I have from Don and Mary. This is 2 shipments worth of CDs and 1 of 45s. Including a Grail 45, by the way. And I have a lot of these, but I don't have a lot more. And there's also quite a few promos in this 45 batch. So, let's get started with this enormous pile. Some of these I purchased again from them, and some of them I haven't. This is Columbia Hall of Fame, The Yellow Rose of Texas, and 2 songs from Bridge on the River Kwai from Mitch Miller. Christmas in Heaven and Just a Blessing from Charles Brown. A promo of the 1974 issue of Gee Whiz by Diane Steinberg on Atlantic. Ed Ames, There's a Time for Everything, and Gone. I would assume this was out around the time he was on Daniel Boone. A Teenager in Love and I've Cried Before from Dion and the Belmonts. Picked one of these up from Don and Mary already. Chattanooga Choo Choo and A String of Pearls from Glenn Miller and his orchestra in an original RCA Victor sleeve, which is very cool. Back-to-back hits from Tom Jones, Delilah and Without Love, There Is Nothing on Parrot Great Hits. Back-to-back hits again, this time from Larry Gatlin and the Gatlin Brothers Band, All the Gold in California and the Midnight Choir. I'm not familiar with the second one. The first one you couldn't get away from. When it was out, they were on every country music show singing it every 2 hours, it seemed like. Again, an original sleeve from the independent distribution company. You Were Always Believing in Me, and mono and stereo. I assume this is a promo from Lori Jacobs. It is on, I think it's Neostat Records. It's very, very difficult to read that stylized logo. Another promo, I'm Coming Home from Stories on Kama Sutra. Kenny Rogers, Daytime Friends, and We Don't Make Love Anymore. Another classic release I had already, but I love this, and this one is in like gold shape almost. Charlie Rich and There Won't Be Any More, and It's All Over Now. Oh Sheila and I'm the One That Loves You from Ready for the World. I have that in the sleeve backwards because I had to take it out to get all the Discogs stuff. Going to be talking about Discogs on next week's show, by the way. Atlantic back-to-back different artist hits. Ride Captain Ride by Blues Image. And Robert John's version of The Lion Sleeps Tonight, which was a hit when I was in second grade, I think, or third grade. Charlie Rich again, She Knows Just How to Touch Me, and I Lost My Head. This apparently is a DJ copy from that sticker there, or at least a radio station copy. It too is in excellent shape. Good-Hearted Woman by Waylon and Willie, and Suspicious in Minds by Waylon and Jesse. Jesse, of course, Jesse Coulter, Waylon Jennings' wife, I believe, or at least girlfriend. I'm not sure which she was. Let me take a drink here because I am parched. Who Put the Bump by Barry Mann, and Sealed with a Kiss by Brian Hyland on ABC, another back-to-back hits. We Had It All and Cheatin' Fire, Conway Twitty. This was originally owned by WLKM, 1982 release. Tom Jones again, She's a Lady and My Way. Baby Washington and Don Gardner, Forever, and Baby Let Me Get Close to You on Master 5. I'm not familiar with this label at all. Collectibles, Kenny Rogers, Coward of the County, and She Believes in Me. I have a story to tell about that one. I'm going to save that one for a minute. At the Hop and Rock and Roll Is Here to Stay from Danny and the Juniors. Again, back-to-back hits on that one. Same with this one, Teen Angel and Buy Now Baby by Mark Denning. I already have that one, I think. Larry Gatlin and the Gatlin Brothers again. Nothing But Your Love Matters and Runaway, Go Home. Again, with stickers that seem to indicate it may have been a radio station copy. The great Al Green, Full of Fire, and Could I Be the One? Love Al Green. He is awesome. Mighty Love, parts 1 and 2 from the Spinners. I got this a few months ago from Dawn and Mary. Love this song. Stand Tall and Birch Magic from Burton Cummings. Kenny Rogers back-to-back hits again. The Gambler and You Decorated My Life as part of UA's Silver Spotlight series. Although, interestingly, the United Artists record does not show. Usually their logo is on those. Splish Splash and Queen of the Hop, another golden oldies from Bobby Darin. Story I want to tell about this one. I bought this when it was out when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade. I got home, put it on the stereo, cranked it up, didn't realize my mom was on the phone in the kitchen. Oh, I got in trouble. Ah, gotcha! Uh-huh, huh? By Joe Tex and A Mother's Prayer. Full volume. Scared the bejesus out of my mom. Also a couple of picture sleeves, one of which I have had for a while, but I'm glad to have it again. Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer by Elmo and Patsy. And a Grail. I never could find this on a single when it was out. I don't know if we didn't get it in our market. We were in Columbus, Ohio market. They played it all the time on MTV, played it on the radio even. But the 45, I never saw, even though it was distributed by Capitol Records, never saw it at the local stores. I looked everywhere they had it, couldn't find it. Dawn had it in a pile, and I was determined to get it. I spent too much. Chicago Bears Shuffling Crew, the Super Bowl Shuffle. Interestingly enough, I don't think the Patriots' weenie-ass song, the New England, the Patriots and Me, ever came out on a record. I'm going to get hurt for saying that because I live in the Boston area now, but, you know. So those are the singles. Let me put them back over here, since they've all already been discogged. And pull up the CDs. It's 2 separate weeks worth of CDs I got from them. Good stuff here, though. I love weird stuff, and I got plenty of it in this batch. The Gyuto Monks Tibetan Tantric Choir, 1986. This is well before the chant music craze of the mid-90s. There's the titles. I don't know if you can see it or not, but that's what we got there. Love these guys, and I've loved these guys. I have a couple of their other albums. This is a sampler, and in fact, I may have one of these songs. Kodo, Heartbeat Drummers of Japan. This one from Sheffield Lab, obviously. So that would probably mean it came with as a sampler with something, possibly. Never had this album. Grabbed it when I had the chance. White Room, the KLF. Love Justified and Ancient. Great song. And the best of Heaven 17. They never clicked in the States the way they did in Europe. Let Me Go was the only major hit they had here. Also, the week before, I picked up this one. I need to look at this with my light because the print is so tiny. This is the 1999 album, I believe. We had Maria on discjockey.com's playlist. Blondie and No Exit. Oh, and that one that's mine. I don't know why it's over there, and that one's mine too. The other one I guess I got 2 from there. I probably should have bought the other one they had, but I grabbed this one while I could swear I may have had a couple more I misplaced that I've sorted or whatever and haven't put back in the right place. Chemical Brothers, and this one is Exit Planet Dust or Bust. I like their stuff a lot. What a haul this week, over the last couple of weeks. I do have more coming from Dawn and Mary. I do have more coming from Record Crate. I have a few other things ordered as well. So there'll be more, as there always is, and never any room to put it in. That's out of the box for this week. Want to remind everybody that I have a new schedule starting this coming week. Um, some of the shows will premiere this week, some of them will premiere next week. All of the new shows will be up in the next 2 weeks. I have a new show called Vinyl Recall, which was my look at my favorite albums of each year, starting in 1970. New show called Label Nova. I almost said Label Scar. That's a website about defunct stores. Label Nova will look at defunct labels and ones that rose to prominence fast and then fell hard. We'll talk about smaller ones, larger ones, and that's going to be a bi-weekly show. It'll be on every 2 weeks. Season premiere of Influencers will be this week. I also have that Rank This, the Def Leppard songs. It will be this week. I'm sorry I didn't get it done this past week. Obscuria, of course, every day at 11 o'clock. And I have a couple more things coming up in the near future that I'll be telling you about as we go along. If you didn't catch it already, please go over and pull up our playlist and check out last week's Finding Your Music Mojo with Dawn and Mary. With TC and Dawn. As I said, it wasn't a good night for me. We did our 2023 vinyl tag as done by Rob Walker, and each of us have answering all 20 questions. If you haven't seen it yet, please go check it out. I'm going to have a lot more stuff coming up in the near future. In the back pages this week, I want to talk a little bit about something else. This show is always primarily about music or music-related stuff, but many people know through my shirts or whatever that I'm a professional wrestling fan. I got into it when I was in my 30s, thanks to my wife. I'd never liked it before that. So I kind of relate to Don West. For those of you who don't remember Don West, Don got his big break in the business as a pitchman on the Shop at Home channel. The first time I ever laid eyes on Don, it was the late 90s. We just happened to be flipping by Shop at Home, and he was there pushing Chocolate the Moose and all of these other Beanie Babies. And we got sucked into it. We were looking into the Beanie Baby craze at the time. Weren't really serious about collecting them, although we did get a few of them. And it was fun to watch him hawk those. When they announced he would be one of the announcers for Jeff Jarrett's new promotion, Total Nonstop Action, in 2001 or 2002, we were like, the guy that hawks Chocolate the Moose? Don had never done wrestling before. He hadn't even been a fan before he started TNA. He represented the fans' point of view. But everybody who met him said Don was an unforgettable person. And even the sometimes insane and sometimes insanely maddening Jim Cornette managed to become friends with him. That's not an easy task. Don was doing a sports talk show in Nashville at the time, and that's where they were based out of. He stayed with TNA for a number of years, and later being shifted to pushing merchandise, which is what he started doing. But he became a favorite of everybody that watched him. Later on in his life, he would move to Wenatchee, Washington, where he would become a regular part of their radio on a station I used to listen to when I was a kid, KPQ FM. Back then they were beautiful music. Now they were sports talk. The Don West Show ran Monday through Friday for many of the last several years, until last year when Don contracted brain cancer. Don lost his battle on December 31st. He was just 59 years old. He was an amazing announcer, someone who everybody absolutely adored, both in radio and in wrestling, and he will be missed very sorely. We've contributed to his medical expenses over the years. We were just such huge fans of his. Don, you are going to be missed more than you will ever know in this household. And that's the back pages. That will do it for this first edition of 2023 for the Kirkham Report. Next week, I'm hoping I was on vacation this past week and still didn't get a lot of stuff done because we ended up having a building inspection one day, and I have been cleaning the rest of the house, and it needs to get that done before I do this. So now we're shooting for Martin Luther King weekend. Cross your fingers. In any case, check out my regular shows every day at 4 o'clock. The one exception is when we do Finding Your Music Mojo. The next show will be a week from Monday on the Two Hip Chicks channel at 6 p.m. Eastern, live. Everything else will be at 4 p.m. on my channel, TKR Video Central. And that will be Influencers on Tuesday, Vinyl Recall on Wednesday, Rank This on Thursday, Label Scar premiering a week from Friday, and the Kirkham Report on Saturdays, and of course the Radio Retro Countdown on Sunday. We hope you will enjoy those, as well as my daily Obscuria Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Please, if you have any requests, leave them in the comments. I love to hear from you, and I love knowing what you'd like to hear on Obscuria, so please let me know. If you haven't subscribed already, please do, and if you have, thank you. And please leave a comment. I haven't gotten back to everybody the last couple of weeks. I will catch them up before I get back to work on Monday. In any case, I do apologize for being under the weather this morning. I wanted to have this first show ready to go and all this cool stuff, but unfortunately I was unable to do so. But I hope you understand, and we'll be back here in 7 days to do it all again. For the Kirkham Report, I'm TC Kirkham. Happy New Year. Ciao, baby.